Hi guys, welcome to all. Today's very interesting topic, the step in research process. How when you will create a proper research, when you will start your research. And today's topic, the step in the research process, and one of most important that the preparing the research design, including there the sample design also I explained. And basically step in research process, there are formulating the research problems and extensive literature review and developing the objectives, and also today's interesting their step of research. One of important point, there are preparing the research design, including sampling design and collecting the data, analysis of data, and generalization and interpretation. And must will watching, and if you are new, must will subscribe my channel, and also enjoy my live class. There are different type of video, and today is very interesting. There is the preparing the research design. Basically research design is the conceptual structure, and with which research would be conduct. The function of research design is to provide for the collection of relevant information with minimal expenditure of effort and time and money. And after that, the preparation of research design appropriate for a particular research problem and involve the consideration. There is some important you see here objectives of the research study and method of data collection to be adopted, and source of information and sample design, tool for data collection and data analysis. And this 5 point is very important for when you start their research. And basically their objective of the research study is very important, number 1 points, and their objective identified to answer the research question have to be listed, making sure that there the number and statement begin with an action verb is very important. Number and statement begin with an action verb. And number 2, their methods of data collection. Basically there are the two steps of data collection, such as the primary data and secondary data. Primary data they collect for the first time, and also the secondary data, those which have already been collected and analyzed by some else. And very interesting, there are the method of primary data collection. I explained there are clearly and complete in this topic. Basically observation method and commonly used in behavioral science, and it is the gathering of primary data by investigators on direct observation of relevant people, action and situation without asking from the respondent. Very interesting. Such as a hotel claim sends the observer position as guest into the coffee and shop to check in cleanliness at customer service. A food service operator sent there are the researcher into competing restaurants and to learn menu item price and check the portion size and consistency and observe point of purchase and marketing. And a restaurant evaluate possible new location by checking out the location of competing restaurants and traffic pattern and the neighborhood and condition. Basically observation can yield information which people are normally unwilling or unable to provide. Basically their example, observation number plates and containing uneaten and the portion the same menu item, and indicate that food is not satisfactory. And basically type of observation, there are many types. You see here the here 5 types, and structured, unstructured, and participant observation, non-participant observation, and disguised observation. It is very important. Their structure for descriptive research, and basically unstructured for the exploratory research, and participants are also participant observation and non-participants observation. So there are the very interesting, and also limitation, their feelings belief and attitude that motivate buying and behavior, and infrequent behavior cannot be observed and expensive method. And because of this limitation, researchers often supplement observation with survey research, and survey method and approach most suited for gathering descriptive information. And structure survey, there are the survey methods such as the structured survey, unstructured survey, and also the direct approach and indirect approach is very important. Now I explain one by one. Basically, structured survey use formal list of question and asks of all respond in the same way. And unstructured survey let the interviewer prove and respond and guide the interview and according to their answer. And survey research may be direct or indirect, very important. And direct approach, basically the researcher asks direct question about behavior and thoughts, and why do not you eat at there are the such as McDonald's and person of name. The researcher asks directly question about behavior and thoughts, and why don't you eat at Mr. McDonald's. And such as there are the indirect approach, the researcher might ask such as example, what kind of people eat at the McDonald's. Basically there are the different type and the indirectly approach, and from the response the researcher may be able to discover why the consumer avoid there at the McDonald's, and it may suggest the factor of which the consumer is not considerably, and there are the advantage is very important, can be used to collect many different kind of information, and quick and low cost, and compare of the observation and experimental methods is very important. And also there are limitations such as the respond requirements to answer question asked by unknown interview about things they consider provide, and busy people may not want to take the time and may try to help by giving pleasant answer, and unable to answer because they cannot remember or never give throughout what they do and what they do and why, and may answer in direct look at smart and well informed basically is very important. And contact methods information may be collected by mail and telephone and also personal interview. Basically mail questionnaires is very interesting. There are the advantage, it can be used to collect large amount of information at the low cost for respond, and it is also respond may give more honest and answer to personal question on a mail and questionnaire, and no interview is involved, and to whereas the respond and answer and convenient for respond who can answer, and when they have time they are good way to reach people and who often they travel. Basically their limitation, they are not fixable and take longer to complete them the telephonic and personal interview, and response rate is often very low, and researcher has no control over who answered. Basically this is the telephonic interview, there are the such as quick methods and the more flexible, as the interview can explain question not understood and by the respondent, and depend upon the respondent answer they can speak some question and proves more and others, and allow great sample control, and response rate tend to be higher than mail. And basically dark bags, their cost per respond higher, and the some people may not want to discuss personal interview questionnaire interview, and interview manner of the speaking may affect and the responded answer, and different interview may interrupt and record and response in a variety of way, and under time the pressure and data may be entered and without actual interview. Very interesting. And also personal interview, it is very flexible and can be used to collect large amount of information. Trained interviewers are can hold the response attention and are available to clarify different questions, and they can guide interviews and explore issue and their proofs and the situation requirements. And personal interview can be used in any type of questionnaires and can be conduct fairly quickly. An interview can also show actual product and advertisements and package and observation and record their reaction and behavior. It is very important, and these take two forms. There are the individual groups, individual separately their intercept interview, and group basically focus group interview. And indirect intercept interview is widely used in the tourism research. Is very important, widely used in the tourism research, and allow researcher to reach from know the people in the short period of time. And only method of reaching people whose name and address are unknown and involve talking. There are talking to people at homes and also office and on the street and the shopping mall, and also interview must gain the interview's occupation, and also their time involved may range from the few minutes to several hours, and composition may be effort. And involved there is some sociological research and also social science research. Their judgment and sampling, and the interview has guideline as to and the Intercept suggests 25% underage and 20 and 75% over their age group 60. And basically their focus group interview is very important. Their focus group interview, it is rapidly becoming one of the major research and tool to understand the people's thoughts and feelings. And it is usually conducted by inviting 6 to 10 people and together for a few hours within the trained and moderate to talk about product and service and also organization, also their chemical reaction, also in the present place the relevance and the phrasement, and also several create relaxed environment and the moderator needs objectively, and also knowledge of the subject and industry and the some understanding of group and consumer behavior. It is very important. Also at the same time the interviewer focus the discussion, hence the name of the focus group interview, and often held to help determine the subject area on which questions should be asked, taken the later and large scale and structure and direct interview, and comments are recorded through the note down taking or video trapped, also studied later on the understand consumer buying the process. And this method is specially suited for the manage of hotels and restaurants and who have easy access to their customers. It is very important, and the guest appreciate this, recognize the manage gets the valuable information. A restaurant manager use the same approach by the holding and discussion and also meeting over the lunch or dinner, and it is very interesting. And next another there are the drawbacks here such as the cost and sampling. The cost basically may cost more than telephonic survey, and sampling also their group interview and studied keep all small size sample size and keep time and cost down, and directly may be difficult to generalize from the result. And also there are the very interesting experimental method. Experimental method also called empirical research or there are the cause and effect method. It is the database research and coming up the conclusion which are capable the being varied with observation experiment. And experimental research is appropriate when proof is sought out that certain variables affect other variable in some ways, such as tenders and affect the cooking time and texture of the meat depend on variable. The effect of substance in one integrated while the part of another, such as the soya flour and flour for making high protein bread, and so they are developed receive to use the product. And such research is characterized by the experimenter. Basically their control over the variable under study the deliberate the manipulation of one of them to study its effects, and in such the research it is necessary to get at fact and first find at their source and actively and go about the doing certain things stimulated the production of the desired information. And researcher must provide self with working hypothesis. It is very important guess to there provides the result and when work to get enough facts and to provide this further hypothesis, and then he step up an experimental design, and which he think will manipulate the person and or the material concerned, and so as to bring forth the desired information is very important. And evidence gather and through the experimental and empirical studies today is considered to be the most powerful support and possible for the given hypothesis. It is very interesting. Basically, there are the determined and sampling design. It's very relevant on this topic my lecture, and research usually draw conclusion about the large group and by the taking sample. A sample is segment of the people and population selection and represent the population as a whole, and ideally the sample should be representative and allow the researcher to make accurate estimate of the thoughts and behavior of the large population. It is very important, and there are the designing the sampling calls for the three decision and who will be suffered, and the research must be determined and what type of information is needed and who is most likely to have it, and how many people will be surveyed. This is very important. There are the sample size. A large sample give more reliable result, and then the small sample, however, it is not necessary to sample the entire the target population. And how should the sample be chosen? And basically sampling sample member may be chosen at the random and from entire the population, the probability sampling. And there are the researcher might the select the people and who are the easier and obtain the information from, that is the non-probability sample. So there the need of the research project will determine which method is most effective. It is very important, and there are the very interesting their type of sampling you can use, and probability sampling, and there are the classified some the simple random sampling and also the stratified sampling, also the clustered sampling. There are three subdivision of the probability sampling: sample, stratified and cluster. Also you know there are the sample random sampling. Every number of population has a known and equal chance to being the selected. And stratified sampling basically random stratified, and population is divided into mutually exclusive group, and such as group and the random sample are drawn from age group. And clustered basically area means that clustered sample, their population is divided into mutually exclusive group, and such a blog and their research draw in the sample the group of interview. It is very important. And non-probability sample, there are the divide the three, their convenience, judgment, quito, all are about the non-probability. They are the convenience, basically the researchers select the easiest and population members from which to obtain information. And judgment sample, the researcher use his or judgment to select the population number who are good prospect and for the accurate information. And quota sampling, basically the researcher find the interview a prescribed number of people in age of the several categories. So very interesting, and very interesting there are the tools of the data collection and research instrument. It is very interesting. There are the guidelines, and constructed research tool is very important on this my topic. The underlying the principle behind the guidelines suggests there are the separate the step one, the clearly defined and individually list all the specific objective or research and questions for your study. And number two, the second step for each objective or research question, list all the associate questions that you want to answer through your study. And also step 3, that take each research question listed in the step 2 and also the list in the information required to the answer it. And also step 4, that formulate the question to be obtained in this information. It is very relevant and it is very important. So very interesting and the today's topic. And also there are the quaternary and structure their questionnaire, you know, there another video for about the questionnaire, very interesting. And next video I provide there are the questionnaire also. Thank you.